Welcome to Fusion Tonight. Tonight, we continue what we started last week, a look at the fruits of the Spirit. Jenna Engel is our guest, and we'll be talking about generosity, patience, gentleness, and self-control. Now, scream and yell and jump up and down for our host, Mr. John Cooper. Welcome to Fusion Tonight. I'm your host, John Cooper. How are we doing tonight? Great deal. I'm so excited to have everybody here. I'm so excited. We get to continue to talk about fruit, which means I get one more week of being tempted by fruit I wish I could actually eat. Very excited. We dismissed last Wednesday telling you to have a good week. I don't know how good of your week was when we didn't give you the full basket at your disposal. So I'm really excited tonight to have Jenna Engel, who is on the show tonight, come talk about the rest of the 4 fruits of the Spirit. Super, super great show tonight. So let's jump right into it with what we here at Fusion like to call our open mic time. Now, if you're not familiar with Fusion, this looks a lot like Joys and Concerns. So this is your chance to share whatever is on your heart or your mind. Give us a chance to either celebrate it or pray about it. So I don't have anything to start. Does anyone have anything at all that they would like to lift up tonight? Yeah. Was your hand raised? No. Don't call on me. If no one is going to jump in, I'll lift up one. My wife, Gabby, is up here. She just completed, tomorrow she'll complete her first 8 weeks of student teaching. She only has 8 weeks to go, and she will graduate to be able to be an elementary teacher in December. So very, very proud of her. She's almost there, so very excited. Nothing. No one wants to talk about them Iowa Hawkeyes from last Saturday? Yeah. That was pretty cool. And the Packers. I'm a Broncos fan. I can mourn that, but anything at all? All right.
Our daughter's 3.5, and we have no new dental concerns.
Yes. This is exciting news. If you're a parent and somebody tells you, you don't owe us extra money right now, that's worth celebrating. So that's amazing. Yes?
Pete is undefeated. And it was our last game yesterday, and we won.
Awesome. Congratulations.
One against Holmes.
Congratulations. Undefeated football season. Quite an accomplishment. There we go.
Our football season was quite the opposite. We're 0-5.
You must be Holmes.
You stuck it out to the end. Also worth celebrating. Also worth celebrating. Jenna.
My mom had a clumsy moment a few weeks ago and did not tell me until this weekend, but she fell and she broke her wrist and her kneecap, which is interesting because she's usually the one up and cooking, and now my dad has to take on that task. So it could be an interesting 8 weeks.
Yeah. What Jenna's saying is send meals to her mom's house.
Yep.
It's not the broken bones that will kill her. It's the malnourishment from bad cooking. So prayers that your mom heals quickly and that your dad does okay in the kitchen. Anybody else? Well, if not, we'll move right along. And if you could join me in a time of prayer. Gracious and Holy Father, we are so blessed to once again be able to gather in this church and to gather in this space, to come together to share our joys and concerns and take time to worship you and to hear your word through Jenna tonight as she talks to us about the additional 4 fruits of the Spirit and ways that we can better bear fruit in the world and carry forth the mission you had for us to not just aspire to ascend to heaven when our time here is done, but to hopefully create a little bit of heaven here on earth. Lord, as we go through the days and the weeks and the months ahead, we ask that you hear and lift up all of the things on our hearts, all of the things on our minds, the prayers that we say out loud and the prayers we haven't put words to yet. Just continue to let us know that you walk beside us and leave us signs that you are there beside us so that we can always walk through life with a sense of hope, that even if today is hard, tomorrow can always be better, because we know our ultimate tomorrow with you will be the best that it can be. So Lord, as we go through these days, just be with us and pray with us and walk with us as we pray this prayer that your Son Jesus Christ taught us, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our offering. Instead of me giving a long-winded speech, Chris is going to play an awesome video. At each door is a giving jar. You can either take this time to stand up, stretch out before our main event, and give to the wonderful cause you're about to learn about. You can wait until the end of the service on your way out, or you can just take time to take in the information and figure out ways that you can pray about it or give at a later time. So this is your time for offering.
Our mission of the month is a great local cause that fills a gap in the healthcare landscape. The ASAP Free Clinic is a partnership between Allen College and the Salvation Army. It provides high-quality, no-cost or very low-cost healthcare services to underserved and low-income people. The Salvation Army provides space for the clinic to operate, and Allen College provides qualified nurse practitioner students to staff it. The clinic is able to assist clients with building their medical history records, full physical health checkups, treatment of minor acute illnesses or chronic conditions, cholesterol and blood sugar screening. Some immunizations for adults are available. They provide health education and medication assistance, and referrals to other local resources. The ASAP Free Clinic was founded by First UMC's own Russ DeBonis. The clinic meets two separate needs for our community: the need for Allen College students to gain clinical experience and the need for more healthcare options for underserved people. The ASAP Free Clinic is a win for both. The ASAP Free Clinic is our mission of the month. You can contribute at the secure giving portal of our website at aboutfirst.com/giving or by sending a check to the church office. Thank you for supporting the First UMC Mission of the Month. This is one way we live out our vision to love first.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get pumped for our main event speaker. She is the Christian Education Director here at First United Methodist Church, and she's so important, she literally cannot get from point A to point B without having to talk to 5 people first. Let's hope she gets up here a little quicker. Give it up for Jenna Engel. Jenna, welcome back to Fusion tonight. I'm so excited to have you as a guest. I know with our new format, we're all adjusting. You have not been able to attend, so I'm excited to steal you away tonight and talk to you for just a little bit.
I'm excited. I'm lucky to have awesome volunteers downstairs keeping our kids entertained.
Yeah, hopefully they're like all in good shape when parents go pick them up. I think they will be.
Yep. Well, if not, we'll have ice packs. It will be okay.
It will be. It will be okay.
It will be okay.
A rambunctious group. So, fruits of the Spirit.
Yes.
So we have all these wonderful books. Apparently there's so much information. They come in books.
Yeah.
Last week, if you were here last week, or if you watched online, Lisa Congdon was here. We talked about love.
Yes.
Talked about some joy. Joy's pretty cool. Talked about peace. Talked about patience.
Lisa is a perfect person to talk about patience.
Lisa has
She
a lot
has
of
so
patience.
much
And I
patience.
know she does because I work very closely with her husband.
I wasn't going to say that, but
And we talked about kindness.
yes.
So really, really good stuff.
Yep.
Lots of great information. And we left people and we said, take those 5 fruits. It'll be great. But we left 4 out.
Yep.
So now we got to talk to you.
All right, let's do it.
So we're going to jump into them. Can you tell us the 4
Yes.
that we withheld a week ago?
Yeah, so we have goodness, we have faithfulness, we have self-control, and gentleness.
Ooh.
I know. Thanks.
Yeah, those are some great fruits.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still don't know if my son would eat them at dinner, but they sound like fantastic
Yeah.
fruits.
Well, you know what the fun part is we can make any fruit kind of match up with that. We kind of did that a few weeks ago. Our first night here with Blast, that's what we did, and we talked about this. And we had each kid try a piece of every single fruit. And you know the one they were most excited about? Lemons.
Really?
Yes. So then we ended up making homemade lemonade 2 weeks later, which was really fun.
That is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of lemons, I think like that's just what you do to your 1-year-old. Be like, hey, get on your cameras. It's gonna be hilarious.
I know. No, they loved it. It was really, really neat how they just like absorbed that in.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So let's jump in
Okay, let's do it.
to goodness.
Yeah.
Because the last one we finished off with last week was kindness.
Okay.
Is goodness different? What's goodness?
Yep.
And why is it unique?
So I think the difference between goodness and kindness to me is almost like an act, right? So when you want to do something kind for someone, or when you want to be kind to a person, it's more of the words and the actions that you do that go along with it. And just as always my personal opinion. But with goodness, it's almost something that's just a part of you. Like there are just naturally good people in this world. And those are the people that I think continue to restore people's faith in humanity. So I think that could be the difference. And I do enjoy seeing people do acts of kindness. And most of the time when someone does that without wanting anything back in return, you know that they are just full of goodness at the same time.
I think that's a wonderful way to explain that.
Okay.
I can tell you talk to children a lot because you make it very easy to digest.
Thank you. And I was going to say I think it would be a pear.
You think it would be a pear?
Yeah. And I only
All right.
say that because growing up, my mom and my grandmas, we would always eat pears when we would sit around. And when I think about people that have taught me the difference of being kind and good, would be those people. So that's why it's a pear.
Think of a pear.
Yeah.
I prepped Jenna that Lisa had to assign every fruit of the Spirit with an actual fruit. And so Jenna came prepared.
Kind of.
Kind of. So we've chosen a pear for goodness.
Yes.
All right. We had the pear as kindness last week.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Lisa went the route that it bruises easy, so you have to be kind.
Yes.
And I said it was because kindness is overlooked, and so are pears.
Oh.
But now a pear is more than just kind. It's inherently good
Yeah.
as well. Rock on, pear. You're a pear of
Your
fruits.
pear. Yes.
So goodness
Yep.
is being inherently good and doing things that are kind because you're inherently good. The next one on our list is faithfulness.
Yeah.
How would you describe faithfulness?
So I actually ended up having a conversation with my boys about this a few days ago because we were talking about loyalty and what it means to be a loyal person to your friends or to your loved ones. And I brought in faith with that. As Christians, our faith is so deep in us, and so we are so full of it that we are just full of faithfulness. But along with that, we are able to express what we believe. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be within a biblical sense. It could even be just in that, like, some people have 100% faith in the Packers, that they're going to go to the Super Bowl. And they are believing that to their core. And to me, when someone is very faithful, they follow their morals and they align with that throughout their life. And so same thing with kids when they are being taught, like, what's the difference of being loyal and what's being faithful. I think those two go really well hand in hand. And so sometimes what we talk about with our kids downstairs is we need to make sure that we keep our faith intact. And there are multiple ways to do that. And every person has a different way of doing that and at different stages of life. And so I think it's really cool to see people's faith grow. And so I think this congregation specifically, we are full of a lot of faithfulness that I love seeing it every Wednesday and Sunday.
If you had to assign, that's a loaded fruit. If you had to assign one fruit, it might not even be in the basket.
What do we got?
I mean, there's quite a few there. So
Right.
if you had to try to assign a fruit to faithfulness.
I am going to go with grapes.
Oh.
Because I feel like it's rare if you get a grape that is, like, too tart. They're always just perfect. Thank you.
I will accept that answer. And it's plentiful.
Mm-hmm.
And people that argue in bad faith are raisins, which is a shriveled up grape.
I won't comment on that.
So I think that's a very applicable fruit.
Thanks.
So very well
Yeah,
done.
Thanks.
I just came up with that. When you hate raisins, everything goes back to that. But I love grapes, so I
Yes.
love that pick.
Mm-hmm.
Gentleness.
Yeah.
That's another one where you look at kindness
Mm-hmm.
and gentleness, but they're distinct, which is why they're listed differently.
Yeah.
What does it mean to have gentleness in terms of bearing the fruit of the Spirit?
So I think in this world we have a lot of gentle people, and they get bruised easily. And so I think that is something that it can either be, some people think that being gentle is almost a weakness, but I don't see it that way. I think being a gentle person is actually a strength because it allows you to look at different situations of what's going on, and it allows you to possibly step back and look at it in a gentle way. So, like, Jesus always talks about, being kind to one another. Well, if we're not being kind to one another, then we're not being gentle to one another. So I always kind of take it back to the best way to show gentleness to others and to teach our kids how to be gentle is to almost live your life that way. And a lot of times, from just observing people, one of the things I love to do is since I get to work with all ages of people, I like to people watch, like to observe. And I have noticed that some of the most gentle people are the most wise people. They know when to speak, and then they know when to kind of step back and then just let people express what is happening. And that is another thing that Jesus, I think, has taught us about just being there for one another. And sometimes that's just listening, and sometimes that's just supporting them in the background. And so when I'm going through this study and I'm thinking about how am I going to teach gentleness to our kids, I always kind of go that route. Or, like I've said, if you've had a really bad day and you just feel kind of beat up, how do you want someone to treat you? And a lot of times the answer is gentle, because when we're hurt, the next thing we need is for someone to be gentle to us. Yeah, so that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I'd say
gentle
I'm
people
banana.
don't have Facebook, is what you're...
Well, I would encourage them not to. Yeah. Or they only follow, like, specific things. Like, I don't follow a ton of stuff on Facebook. I kind of do a lot of, like, since we go up to the North Shore a lot, we have a lot of North Shore things. So it's all of the things that my husband and my family and I just enjoy doing together that we follow.
Yes, being gentle, treating people gentle, not coming down on people, getting to know them, figuring out where they are. If you had to assign a fruit for gentleness,
Yep.
what are you thinking?
A banana.
A banana.
Banana.
This was my pick for love last week
Okay.
because I just love bananas.
Well, all right.
And bananas prevent cramps, and I thought, well, that's loving yourself. So
Self-care is important.
if you play football, our football coach always said, eat your bananas so you
Yeah.
don't get cramps on Friday.
Same thing in track. I mean, that's what they'd throw it at us. Eat your banana.
Bananas and spaghetti. Like, there you go.
I know.
That's all you eat.
Bananas and spaghetti.
All right. Last one,
Okay.
self-control. Probably the thing most people struggle with the most. Self-control.
Yep.
What is it? How do we live it? How do you describe it?
Self-control, I think, there's so many different levels to that. For example, I don't have self-control when it comes to chocolate, and that's not good for me in the long run, but there is a point where you kind of have to prioritize and everything in moderation when it comes to like your vices. But we all have vices. Some are good, some are bad. When it comes to self-control, especially in a political time right now, we'll say, or even a hot topic time, or when you get to have an opportunity to maybe have a tough conversation, it's really, really hard to do that because your emotions get involved with it. And I have had the opportunity to mediate a couple different tough conversations. I've been in tough conversations, and sometimes they rattle me. Other times I'm able to control my emotions as best as I can. And I know that sometimes I can appear calm on the outside, but internally my heart is just racing. But that's okay. It's okay, because I always believe that you should feel. You need to feel your emotions in order to learn from the experience, in order to work through that process. And also, because if I'm going to be able to work through what's going on within the situation, or I can see others being very emotionally invested in it, it's important to try to have that calm sense, because then if you can radiate the calmness, then hopefully it won't elevate to a level to where people might regret what they say, or where people will just turn away from something. And that happens. It happens daily. It's not a new thing. I think we learned that a lot over the past 2 years between the election and the pandemic. It's been a struggle. So when it comes to self-control, I personally think it's really about knowing yourself. And it's knowing when you need to just walk away from the situation. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I love you, but let's finish this later. And that goes in every single element. I mean, it could be with your kids. There's been moments with my kids where I'm like, we're not getting anywhere. I'm about ready to lose it. I love you. Let's talk later when they've calmed down, when I've calmed down. And so I think self-control is just really about knowing yourself. It's about knowing where you are. It's within your faith walk. It's about knowing how you want to articulate your views and your love to each other. And that takes a lot of practice. And I was talking with the kids a few weeks ago with Blast, and we were talking about all of these. And we did say self-control is one of the hardest things. Because so many of us want that instant gratification, right? We want that. If we want to go buy something, how many of us just go out and buy it? Instead of, like, maybe I should just save this for a little bit. I really think, is this a need or a want, or would somebody else benefit from this? So that was something that we talked about, and a lot of them were like, you know what, you're right. This is really hard, because in every single stage we're continuing to learn ourselves. We're learning how we react. We're learning what triggers we could or could not have. And you know, when I turned 30, there are a lot of things that I just didn't care about anymore. And I'm hoping the same thing happens when I turn 40. So I'm continuing to grow in my self-control every single day. But it is the hardest out of all of them.
I would agree. I mean, you know, just in every aspect, it's part of learning who you are, and it's understanding what you're good at and what you're not so good at, and being comfortable saying, I'm not good in this moment. I need to take a breather. And
there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I'm not helping this situation, so I'm going to remove it. I'm going to remove myself because I'm the one that's causing the tension. And so if we can figure that out, then when you go back to it, hopefully it's a much better situation or scenario, and everything will end up in love. And I mean, that's what we talk about here all the time, is love first. So hopefully as people continue to learn and to grow in themselves, it will be, at the end of the day, we simply love first.
I hope so. You know, I think about love your neighbor as you love yourself. And so we focus a lot, rightfully so, on how we treat our neighbor. But how we treat ourselves plays such an important role in that as well. And it's the same kindness you give to your neighbor, give to yourself. The same grace you give to your neighbor, give to yourself. That's part of self-control, is treating yourself nice too. Sometimes it's easy for us to treat ourselves very poorly. And that then causes us to be miserable, which then inadvertently radiates and affects the people we think we're trying to protect. But when you harbor that, I think it makes it very difficult. I know I have a fruit in mind for self-control. What is your fruit for self-control?
I'm going to say an apple, because
An apple?
an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Taking care of myself. Because I have to love myself, and then I can love others.
I think of the lemon.
Why?
Because I think of the lemon for self-control because I like lemon bars. I like lemonade. But if I bite into a lemon, I'm very unhappy. And I look at the lemon as the ultimate act of self-control, of recognizing how to best use the lemon so that you have joy in your life, as opposed to potentially squirting lemon juice into your eye and saying a lot of things you'll regret.
I have a question.
Yes.
So when you bite into a lemon, you squirt the lemon into your eye? Like how?
Well, I mean, like when you're...
Are you eating like an apple? Or are you
like when you're
slice it?
you do the slices, but if you're not careful, even if you're like, you know, trying to squirt a little bit into your water and, you know, make your water a little like more highbrow. You squirt it into your eye. I mean, I'm just saying, you got to be careful. You got to be calculated.
I'm just looking at your wife for that one. Like,
she knows I'm a child. I've never met a husband that's like, oh yeah, like I'm the one who settled. Like, no, every husband's the one that married up. Like, that's just how it is.
My husband's in here, so I bet I can't see him.
He knows. He's nodding. He's like, yeah, I married up. Well, Jenna, thank you so much for completing the basket of fruit.
I hope that was okay.
It was perfect. It gives us a much more well-rounded view on the ways that we can act and the ways that we can bear fruit out in the world, and how we treat people, how we treat ourselves, and hopefully helping us live more like Christ. So ladies and gentlemen, that is our show. Please give a round of applause for Jenna Engel. And may you go out into the world with your basket of fruit, whether it's the fruits I have here or additional ones, and share goodness, share faithfulness, share gentleness, share self-control everywhere you go. And whatever you do, please, please, please be Christ for one another. We'll see you next week.